Know someone in your life celebrating a birthday? They deserve to feel truly celebrated. That's what 1-800-Flowers has helped people do for 50 years, turning everyday gestures into meaningful moments of connection. And this April, during their 50th birthday celebration event, when you buy one bouquet, get a second bouquet 50% off. Celebrate more birthdays with our 50th birthday event all April long at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast. Buy one bouquet, get a second bouquet 50% off at 1-800-Flowers.com/podcast.
Start the spring season off right with a new pair of Tecovas Western boots. Handcrafted and over 200 steps from genuine leather, they're built to last and feel broken in the moment you put them on. From cowhide to exotic leathers, Tecovas blends timeless style with all-day comfort. Pair them with premium denim, Western shirts, and accessories for an effortless, polished look. Shop quality Western goods in-store or online at tecovas.com.
Quality proteins aren't just for special occasions. With Omaha Steaks, you get mouth-watering proteins delivered right to your door, individually packaged and portioned, so a great dinner is just minutes away. From Taco Tuesday to a weekend feast, taste the Omaha Steaks difference. Start getting flavorful proteins delivered today. Visit omahasteaks.com and get $35 off with promo code AUDIO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code AUDIO. Terms apply. See site for details.
How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 1.
Dow is at 50,000. The Dow is at, isn't that what we're, it's actually at 49,671. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. It's an open line Friday, 877-973-7425. If you would like to be on the program. The Dow is up 1,092 points as we start the show. S&P up 95. NASDAQ up 385. All the losses from the start of the Iran war have been reversed. As the president announces and Iran announces, the Strait of Hormuz is open and there appears to be a peace deal. To give you a greater sense, a barrel of oil, the price is down over 10% right now. 12% for West Texas crude, 10% for North Sea oil. It is a rapid drop. Meanwhile, natural gas prices are up a little bit, but not a whole lot. You know, one of the weirdest parts of this whole situation, and not to be dismissive of the burdens, because I understand things are expensive, beef is expensive, groceries are expensive. Natural gas prices during this conflict with Iran skyrocketed in every part of the world except the United States, where they reached near record lows, just bottomed out. Fascinating. The American economy continues to roar. There is great new jobs data out, manufacturing surging in the United States. The American economy, people aren't feeling it because of the price at the pump, and they're not feeling it because of grocery prices, but it's kind of a big deal. The president of the United States says that Iran is agreeing to suspend its nuclear program indefinitely. We will get to the uranium aspect of this. Let's talk about oil, though. The British and the French have gotten together for a Zoom call today, and I'm not making this up. This is the impotence of the Europeans. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom flew to Paris to meet with the President of France to do a Zoom call. You're thinking, why would you fly to be face-to-face with the person you're doing the Zoom call with? I got nothing. They're going to get other people on a Zoom call, too. And they're going to talk about a multinational force to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. If you're paying attention, the Strait of Hormuz is open. In other words, the Europeans are doing a face-to-face meeting, but also by Zoom, to talk about possibly doing a multinational force to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and the president has gotten it open this morning. Oil prices are cratering. I've got CNBC up right now, and this is the message and story of the day. What oil prices are rapidly doing, more than a 10% decline in the price of a barrel of oil. It will translate into the price at the pump in the United States very quickly as oil prices start going down. This is a good thing. Now, the other side of this are the number of people in the press, in the pundit class, who are insisting that the United States has lost this. How exactly have we lost it? If Iran is giving up its uranium, Iranian ports, you should know, the president of the United States has tweeted out. Let me read you his social media post. The Strait of Hormuz is completely open and ready for business and full passage, but the naval blockade will remain in full force and effect as it pertains to Iran only until such time as our transaction with Iran is 100% complete. This process should go very quickly in that most of the points are already negotiated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. I have a great concern for the people of Iran. One of the leading ministers of Iran said that they will skin alive any Iranian who cheered on the United States. The repercussions for the people of Iran, I'm afraid, are going to be bad. I am worried about that. But if you care about American interests first, as a lot of people do, you are less concerned about the Iranian people. And I think that, well, we should be concerned about them, but also the president's getting a deal out of Iran. They said he couldn't. The pundit class in this country is just so broken by the president of the United States. They are unable to coherently navigate the situation with the president. Take yesterday. I played the clip of the Pope. The Pope, let me see if I can pull this clip back up. This is relevant. Let me talk to you here while I'm pulling up this clip, because I used it in my morning newsletter as well. If you text the word Eric to 33777, you can get it. I put the clip in this morning. You can see it. I made this point. This is Pope Leo in Cameroon yesterday, and just let me play this for you.
But woe to those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, or political gain.
That was Pope Leo in Cameroon yesterday, and I was on CNN last night with Anderson Cooper, and the Pope's comments came up, and unfortunately we couldn't get to it in the conversation with Paul Beguilin and Anderson Cooper and I. He brought it up with Caitlin Collins, and they talked about it as it appears the Pope is still talking about the United States, and Donald Trump is still talking about the Pope. You know, the president's comments about the Pope yesterday actually were good comments. You may disagree with him, but he said, look, I disagree with the Pope. I don't care what the Pope says. The Pope's got a right to say it. I've got a right to disagree with him. Had you just said that in the beginning instead of that social media post, Mr. President, there wouldn't be an issue here. But there are so many people who are convinced that the Pope's comments in Cameroon were about the President of the United States, and they had nothing to do with it. Let me paint the picture, because some of you will disagree with me and say, of course he's talking about the President. Cameroon has gone through a secessionist movement that led to a civil war over the last almost decade. They call it the Anglophone crisis. There's a section of Cameroon that sought its independence, and different warlords and politicians and military officials began firing at each other. Several years ago, there was a protest in the streets, and the military just opened fire on the protesters and killed them. There's now a stalemate. 8,000 Cameroonian citizens have been murdered in the name of God. On both sides of the conflict, the generals and the politicians and the tribal leaders have insisted it is God's will. They have profited off of it. Some of them have gotten very rich. And when questioned about their riches, they claim that their wealth is proof that God is on their side. There are almost as many Catholics on the entire African continent as there are American citizens total. We have 350 million American citizens. There are between 250 and 300 million Catholics on the African continent. Cameroon has a large Catholic population, and many of the generals on both sides of this conflict are Catholics, and they murdered civilians. Priests were murdered in the streets of Cameroon, and they asked the Pope to come as part of the healing process. And so the Pope went. And with generals and politicians and civilians sitting there listening to the pontiff, he talked about killing and war in the name of God. Because in Cameroon, people were killing and getting rich in the name of God. It had nothing to do with the United States. But if you listen to the American media, they would tell you it did. And I, by the way, I can't blame you if you listen to the Pope and thought it must be about the president, because that's what the media told you. Even Trump supporters yesterday lashed out at the Pope for taking this grievance against Trump to Cameroon. It's like, no, you idiots have no idea what's happening in Cameroon. You have no idea this crisis that has gone on since 2017 when protesters in the streets were fired upon, many of them killed, 8,000 civilians, 2,000 plus soldiers, 10,000 people dead in Cameroon. The Pope was there to begin a process of national healing. There's a vast Catholic population in Cameroon and in Africa. He's deeply concerned about the African continent and the threats of Islam. I'm sure you've heard social media influencers say the Pope is being accommodationist to Islam. He's actually condemned the spread of Islam. He's condemned the spread of jihadism. He's condemned the slaughter of Christians. But there's an online effort to vilify the Pope, led in large part by Steve Bannon's group that's trying to undermine the Catholic Church, that is trying to convince people that the Pope is saying things about Islam and its compatibility with Christianity that's simply not true. Simply not true. Now, he has said things I object to, and I'm not a Catholic. I'm not here to defend the Pope. I'm just telling you, people are spitting you up on things that aren't actually true, and they're trying to claim the Pope attacked the president yesterday in Cameroon when he did no such thing. He was talking specifically about the local issues in Cameroon. These very same people are telling you the president has lost a war with Iran. Let me paint for you the picture of how we lost the war in Iran. We've gotten everything we wanted from Iran other than regime change, which wasn't something the president said he necessarily needed to have. In fact, the president says he's changed the regime. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal, there was a story that the president did engage in regime change in Iran, and now the Iranian leaders are more extreme than the last guys. Really? That's the spin, isn't it? That, oh, these extremists, they're worse than the last extremists. You know what the last extremists did? They threw gay men off roofs and they hanged dissidents. You know what this group does? They throw gay men off roofs and they hang dissidents. But they smile when they do it. They're extremists. All media reports are aligned against the president of the United States, who has accomplished almost every single one of his objectives. Iran says it's going to cut a deal on uranium. We'll get to that here in a moment. Iran itself says the Strait of Hormuz is open. Lebanon and Israel are sitting face to face talking about peace for the first time in 35 years. Lebanon has announced it wishes to purge Hezbollah from its soil and is willing to allow the Israelis to do it. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have entered into military cooperation with Israel. The fundamental dynamics of the Middle East have changed in our favor, by the way. China's economy has been hamstrung. Could it all go south? It could. I don't trust the Iranians. We'll get into that. But to have the media root against the president and insist that this whole war is a disaster, listen, there are legitimate reasons and legitimate grounds to say Congress should have been involved. There are legitimate reasons to say the president should have not started the fight. Legitimate reasons. You and I can agree to disagree. I think it was a good thing, but I recognize you have very valid reasons for saying he never should have thrown that punch to get this started. I recognize that. I understand the position. It is a valid position, even if I disagree with it. But as Senator Young from Alaska said yesterday, you're not holding a tiger by its tail. You're holding a tiger by its face with Iran. If you let go and you haven't declawed and defanged that tiger, it's going to get you. And he said all of us must understand whether or not you supported going into Iran for our own safety. We must not leave the situation until it's fully resolved. And it appears the President of the United States is getting almost full resolution of what he wanted with Iran, while the American media insists that he lost because, God forbid, they credit him with doing something good. The Strait of Hormuz is open. The Dow is up over 1,000 points. Barrels of oil, the price are cratering more than 10% as I speak right now. All of the losses in the markets when we went into Iran are recovered and then some. And Europe is now talking about reopening a strait that we already opened.
Stop wasting time scrolling through endless clickbait, social media, and emails trying to keep up with the news. Instead, listen to all the news you need in just 10 minutes.
Welcome to The Newsworthy.
The Newsworthy podcast makes it faster, easier, and more enjoyable to get unbiased news on the go.
It helps us navigate the news without feeling overwhelmed.
Even when my time is limited.
So much detail and information in 10 minutes.
Listen now by searching The Newsworthy in your podcast app or go to thenewsworthy.com.
Welcome back. It's an Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. You can text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to get everything you need to stay on top of the show, and follow me on Instagram. My son wants me to teach him how to smoke chicken wings this weekend. I'm sure I'll be putting that on Instagram. And he wants onion rings and chicken wings. That's what the kid wants. So we got to do pizzas on Sunday. So I got to talk to you about the president real quick because I found this very, very funny. If you haven't seen this clip, I thought it was great. The president did an interview with Maria Bartiromo, and he was asked by Maria Bartiromo why he was so hoarse. He sounded off. This was such a great answer.
Have you been negotiating a lot all day? I mean, Is that why your voice is hoarse?
I've been screaming at Iranians all day, yes. A little bit of a laryngitis because of my I've been screaming at Iranians.
So the Iran leadership you're screaming at?
You know why? Because that's the only thing they understand. They don't understand being nice. They understand the way I have to do business. I treat all people differently.
The president's being loud and clear. Deal or
That's yelling at the Iranians. Wow, yelling at the Iranians. That's actually kind of funny. I don't know who he was yelling at. He's been yelling a lot on social media about Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly. He's been yelling a lot about Candace Owens and other podcasters there. He's been yelling a great deal lately at people online. He says, by the way, he's going to do a list of, let me pull this up. It's easy. Tucker Carlson's low IQ person, always easy to beat and highly overrated. So are Megyn Kelly, Candace really dumb and mentally ill, and bankrupt Alec Jones, who is completely fried. There are others. We got some very good MAGA ones all the way and smart. I should do a list, good, bad, and somewhere in the middle. Wouldn't that be fascinating? I'm hoping for in the middle. We'll see. Let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them. Save $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, E-R-I-C-K, the number 3, EdenPureDeals.com. They're an air purifier, so they get rid of dust and pollen, all the stuff floating in the air, and they're filterless. You don't need a filter subscription. They also, because they generate plasma as air flows through the device, kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses that flow through the device. Where they shine, how I use them, odor elimination. I keep one in my travel bag. They're very small. They're very portable. You can plug it in with a USB cord. I've powered it off my laptop before. You can plug it into the wall. EdenPureDeals.com. They've got a money-back guarantee on the odor elimination. If it doesn't work for you, see the site for details about the money-back guarantee, but you can get 3 of them and save $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3. One of my favorite resorts I stay at, they put me in a room multiple times that have a fireplace, and they were running the Eden Pure Thunderstorm when I got there just to make sure no smoky odors were left. And they work. They really do. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK, the number 3, no space, EdenPureDeals.com. See site for details for the money-back guarantee and wipe out odors. Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here. This Open Line Friday, 877-973-7425. The President of the United States says Iran is agreeing to give up its enriched uranium to the United States and to suspend further production of it, and no money is changing hands. Now, there's a rumor out there floating that we may allow Iran to get money out of its bank accounts, and that would technically be no money changing hands. We'll see how this shapes up. I'll give you the details. Take your phone calls here in a minute. Let me tell you first about Swiss America, because they would love to keep you informed on what is happening in the world of finance, the economy, commodities. If you're interested in precious metals with them, I bought from them. You can too. SwissAmerica.com/Eric is where you want to go. And by the way, when you go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, you can fill out the form and get their Secret War on Cash report. Now, what's so big deal about this? If you're probably aware of more and more companies saying they don't take cash. They're allowed to do that under federal law. Aggravates me to no end, even though I use my debit card, credit card more than cash. Still bothers me that there are businesses that don't take cash. The government actually wants it. Why? Because they want to be able to see what you're buying. They want to be able to control it. This applies to crypto, too. That's why Swiss America has this report, The Secret War on Cash, and how you need to stay informed. They also have the news and views tabs on their website at SwissAmerica.com/Eric, where you can keep up with what's going on in the global markets. You can get their podcast, Swiss America Trading. All you do is go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric today, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Fill out the form, get the Secret War on Cash report completely free. It takes less than 15 minutes to read it. SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Let me give you the basic details before I get into your phone calls here on the president and his Iran deal. He says that they're going to give up their uranium. There are multiple reports that we may allow Iran access to their bank accounts. We have frozen bank accounts of Iran. They've got billions of dollars in banks they can't get access to. The president says that we are willing to open the Iranian ports. In exchange, Iran will give up all of their uranium, and they will not further enrich uranium. And the president says no money will be changing hands. That's interesting language, that no money will be changing hands because of this report about $20 billion that we may free up for Iran. If Iran gets access to its own bank accounts, that's not technically money changing hands, because it's already Iran's money. Here's my concern. You can't trust Iran. And I've said this repeatedly, and it bears repeating again. Iran's leadership are 12er Shia Islam. Now, 12er Shia Islam is a particular type of religion. They believe that the Mahdi is coming back, the 12th Mahdi, that he disappeared as a child. He's coming back as a man. Jesus Christ is going to lead the way, and they're going to purge the world of Jews and Christians and set up an Islamic paradise. They believe it. And one of the things about 12er Shia Islam is they have a fundamental belief that you can lie to advance the goals of bringing about the Mahdi. In Sunni Islam, which is the predominant version of Islam, you're not supposed to lie. The only acceptable lie in Sunni Islam is if you are protecting yourself or the Prophet. In Shia Islam, it was greatly persecuted in the Middle East after the split between Islam after Muhammad died and a series of prophets died. And In Shia Islam, they developed the belief that you can lie to accomplish the purposes of the religion. If the purpose of your religion is to bring back the Mahdi through global apocalypse, you can lie about uranium enrichment. That's my concern here, is that the Iranian leadership fundamentally at a messianic religious level believes in lying to accomplish their purposes. If you're dealing with a fundamentalist religious theocracy, which is what Iran is, and one of the fundamental tenets of that religion is that you can lie to accomplish your purposes, Iran can tell the president of the United States whatever they want. The verification regime is going to have to be essential to this. The monitoring is going to have to be essential. And that's a real concern to me because Iran lied to Barack Obama. The Democrats to this day are convinced that they had gotten Iran to never develop a bomb, which is nonsense. The Democrats really can't understand that Iran fundamentally was not going to keep its word. They really believe that Iran was honest with Barack Obama because they're fools. They're a bunch of secularists who do not understand 12er Shia Islam. They simply don't understand it. They think that it's not rational, and they believe that world leaders are rational, and therefore they believe that Iran can't believe what Iranian leaders believe. The Trump administration cannot fall into this trap that the Obama administration fell into. You fundamentally cannot believe the Iranian regime because the Iranian regime presuppositionally at a foundational level of the regime believes that it should be able to lie to accomplish its goals. And I'm deeply concerned about that. Side note, Israel is not happy with the deal. For a month and a half, we have been told by Podcastistan that Israel is controlling the president of the United States. The left has said Israel is controlling the president of the United States. Tucker Carlson has said Donald Trump is a slave to Israel. Megyn Kelly has suggested it. Candace Owens has suggested it. The left has suggested it, that Israel is the puppet master. And you know what the spin is today? Apparently, the president of the United States is going to bully poor little Israel. I can't believe the president of the United States is trying to dictate terms to Israel and tell Israel that they have to accept this deal. Who do they think they are, this administration, to be able to tell a sovereign nation what it should and should not do when it comes to Lebanon and Iran? Really? I mean, they've just literally moved the goalpost to the opposite side of the field today. These people are just rooting against the United States at this point. They don't like the United States. They're trying to delegitimize the United States. They tried with Israel. Now it looks like the president is forcing Israel to accept a deal Israel doesn't want. And suddenly it's who do we think we are to bully a sovereign nation like Israel? This is outrageous. Heads they win, tails you lose. That's the way Podcastistan plays it. That's why the president is lashing out at all of them again on social media today, driving down the ratings. By the way, speaking of, several of them, including Megyn Kelly, have been blasting Ben Shapiro and mocking Ben Shapiro for that his ratings must be down, et cetera, et cetera. It turns out Ben Shapiro's podcast is surging while the rest of them are in free fall. Because you know what? I think people at the end of the day, they want the truth, not the spin. And credit to Ben. He does a great job of telling people what's actually going on in the world. And clearly is not in the pockets of some foreign national government, which I don't understand Podcastistan these days. But the fact that they've gone from Israel is controlling the president to who does the president think he is bullying Israel, it's just nonsensical. I'm actually ultimately concerned about Iran. I think they're a bunch of liars, and we really should wipe out the regime, and it looks like we're not going to do that. Now, let me take phone calls, 877-973-7425. Chad in Montgomery, Alabama, you're up first today. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Happy Friday to you. Hey, glad the French and the Brits are coming to the party late, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe they'll bring us some food.
You remember that old joke about the French rifle advertised on eBay, never used, dropped once, right? So,
yeah.
I thought that was always very funny and very accurate, too. I wanted to thank you for clarifying the situation with the Catholic Church and the problems that are going on over in Africa, because that is why the Pope is visiting Africa. The Democratic Republic of Congo has a real mess over there, and it's also been in Rwanda, Cameroon, Nigeria. There are Islamists in most of those countries that are literally killing priests and killing parishioners during the middle of Easter Mass, and it happened again this year several times, and this has been ongoing because there are 288 million Catholics in Africa. It is the fastest growing area for Catholicism,
right?
Which is why there's been some talk about Cardinal Sarah one day being Pope. He's probably aged out now, but that is where the heartbeat of the church is right now. It's dying in Europe, but it's thriving, in African countries. So I think that you gave them great context to let them know that, look, it's not all about Trump, right? And I will just make this one comment. By the way, I'm being ordained a deacon in the Catholic Church in June, so God willing, and I don't get shot in the head or anything. So, but the interesting thing about it is that the way this whole tiff started with the Pope is that when Trump came out and made his comment about wiping out a civilization, well, there's no way that the Pope can not comment on that. I was very disturbed by that comment, and I'm pro-Trump, and I think the war, I hate war, but this one I think is going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. But everybody needs to understand the Pope is not a politician. The Pope is about faith and morals and trying to guide the church, toward peace in the best way possible. There are going to be disagreements. Prudential judgments we're going to have differences on those, whether it's immigration, whether it's war, whether it's a just war or not. And unfortunately, Trump gave in to his weakness, which is his penchant for punching back very hard whenever he's criticized. And that's his biggest downfall, is not knowing when to shut up and not knowing when to get off of Truth Social, and he I think you said it the other day, his polls go up when he's off of Truth Social for a while, right? Because he has successes. He has this what you're talking about today, these are some great successes. I mean, who thought you would have a peace deal with Lebanon and Israel, and that Lebanon is maybe thinking about entering into the Abraham Accords, but nobody wants to talk about that, right? Because that gives Trump credit.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, or the effect of this whole thing on the Chinese. I mean, Trump has reset the international table, with China, with Russia, and what's going on over in the Caribbean and so forth. I mean, it's just incredible what's happening, But the problem with Trump is he wants to brag about his successes before anybody else can say anything about it. He is throwing his arm out of socket, patting himself on the back. He needs to let others do that for him. He doesn't need to do it.
Yeah,
right?
I'm glad you said it. It frustrates me. And Chad, have a great weekend. Thanks for the phone call. You're right, and there are so many successes that the president has had, particularly in foreign policy. We're on the verge of watching the Cuban government collapse, by the way. The military is making rapid preparations for the impending fall of the Cuban regime. It's gotten so bad that while the Cuban president was out of the country, first coming into the United States and then flying to Spain for a rally of left-wing world leaders, that the surviving Castro brother, Raul Castro, has reasserted authority in Cuba to talk directly to the United States. That's how bad the situation is getting in Cuba. Another big success for the president if that goes through. And yet the media savages it all. And if the president just let other people sing his praises more than him just trying to be the first one out of the gate, I think more people would realize there's something worthwhile there. Bart, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Eric. I really appreciate it. I concur with your thoughts on the Iranian regime, and regime change is obviously the ideal way to go. However, having said that, if there is some sort of agreement between the president and what's left of the Iranian regime, then it would require a treaty of some sort, which would be absolutely beautiful, because then it would have to go to the Senate and get 2/3 of the members to agree to it. And that would just absolutely jam the Democrats. And if we wanted to twist the knife again in multiple directions, we could go ahead and include Israel in that treaty and make it a trilateral treaty. What do you think about those?
Look, Bart, I think that'd be a fantastic idea. I think it's something that we should consider. The fact of the matter is, we should make the Democrats force yes or no with the Democrats on this. By the way, the Democrats are trying to shut the war down. They lost a vote in the House of Representatives yesterday over trying to end the war in Iran, which the president himself seems to have ended. And again, this could all blow up in the president's face. It could all collapse. We could have to go back in there. He's moved more troops just in case, but it looks like we're headed towards a good deal with Iran. The question is on enforcement and inspection because you can't trust them. We'll see how that turns out.
Ever feel like the news is just arguments or nonstop tragedy? Plus, who has the time to keep up with it all? Well, I have a solution for you.
Welcome to The Newsworthy.
In just 10 minutes a day, The Newsworthy keeps you in the know about everything from politics to tech to entertainment, using its signature fast, fair, fun style. No wonder Harper's Bazaar, Fast Company, People Magazine, and more have called The Newsworthy one of the best podcasts to stay news savvy. Listen now by searching The Newsworthy in your podcast app or go to thenewsworthy.com.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. This hour of the program sponsored by Van Allen Golf, ALLEN, maker of fine golf equipment. If you're into golf or someone you love is into golf, you got to check out their great putters, and they keep developing cool stuff. VanAllenGolf.com. Check out Van Allen Golf on Instagram as well. The pictures are gorgeous. The equipment is gorgeous. I've got one of their putters. It's fantastic. VanAllenGolf.com. Text golf to 33777. Eric in Edgewater, Florida, you're up next. Welcome.
Great explanation of the different sects of Islam there. Before I get to my question real quick, you're onto something. Trump could end all the opposition if he would just endorse oxygen, sweet, beautiful oxygen.
Yes.
I don't know if I think it was on The Hill or maybe Steve Turley. Europe's saying that they're out of jet fuel soon. And it might be a moot point because it looks like the blockade's getting lifted and all that. But it just shows, like back with Angela Merkel, Europe put themselves in a pretty tough spot. What's your take on all of that?
Yeah, look, the Europeans for years and years have told us we need to fly less, we need to use less oil and fossil fuels. And you would think that this war in Iran, the environmentalists in Europe would love it. But when the rubber meets the road, it drives up other costs. The fact that the Europeans offloaded so much of their own refinery capacity to other countries and their production, the North Sea is covered in oil. There's major production of oil in the North Sea. And the fact that the Europeans can't get out their own oil and refine it is a strategic problem for them. It's like, Eric, natural gas declined in this country and went up everywhere else because we've invested in the extraction of natural gas in a way. The Europeans, by the way, have natural gas under them. They've just shut down all of their ability to get it out and have chosen to buy it from Russia instead because they think it's good for the environment. It's a national security issue, the ability to pump your own oil. Think about our refining capacity here. The reason we're so impacted by global oil prices is because all of our refineries are processing heavy crude, and we pump out of the ground sweet crude. So we export all of our oil to other countries and import all of our needs. That's why natural gas went down in this country as it went up everywhere else, but oil went up here because we're dependent on global markets, too, because of a fluke of the Democratic environmental policies. Let's talk tankless. Now, speaking of natural gas, I've got propane at my house. Don't have natural gas, but my Rinnai tankless water heater operates off gas. I yanked out my tank of water heater that was electric, and our power bill went down. The Rinnai is so efficient. You can find out more at talkingtankless.com, and you can get a $500 rebate if you install a Rinnai tankless water heater in your home by June 30th. This is for homeowners only. The process is simple. You go to talkingtankless.com, you click on the consumer rebate page, and it'll take you to the Rinnai rebate page. You search for the Eric Erickson rebate. You put in your personal information, and then use my code ERIC to get in and get your rebate. It's $500 rebate at talkingtankless.com. You can even locate a trained professional plumber to be able to install your tankless water heater. Do your family a favor. Go to talkingtankless.com. Get hot water forever. talkingtankless.com.